and it's that time of the week. It's time for Free Speech Friday, when we get two free-speaking New Zealanders and we talk over the events of the week. I'm very glad to welcome back after some absence a good friend of the platform and journalist Yvonne van Dongen. Yvonne, how are you?
Good, thanks. Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you with us. And from the New Zealand Initiative, who schooled me on social media vans, or Eric Crampton did this week, our good friend, the only German, often people call him the only German they know with a sense of humour, Dr. Oliver Hartwich. Oliver, how are you?
Very well, good morning.
Lovely to have you with us. Yvonne, meet Oliver. Oliver, meet Yvonne.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Oliver.
All right,
Yeah.
Okay, let's kick off with... Actually, I want to kick off with that social media ban. And it was, for me, quite liberating to have taken a position, a knee-jerk position, when I heard that Australia was going to ban social media sites for under 16-year-olds. Great idea. I was all for it. I started to think about it. I talked to Eric Crampton on Wednesday and I completely changed my mind. Yvonne, did you like that idea at first blush?
Well, I'm a former lefty, so I love all forms of bans, really. So, yeah, I'm very attracted to authoritarian moves. So, yeah, I liked it as well. And then I still don't know what I really think, but I did begin to wonder how it would be possible to enforce when you've got all those workarounds like VPNs. So what conclusion did you come to?
Well,
that
really, if kids are shouldn't be on social media, their parents can do that. It's not the government's job to do that. It's
Right.
good parents' job. And so parents throwing up their hands and going, it's all so difficult. Grow up here. Stop wanting your kids to actually like you and be a parent. Eh, Oliver?
Totally agree. I must say I'm not the biggest fan of social media anyway, because I think it's in many cases antisocial, and so I will try to keep our son away from it as long as I can.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's a responsibility of the parents. I don't think we need the government to do that for us.
Yeah. And the idea then, of course, you'd have to verify everyone's age, and it's clear in Australia this is going to be a way to introduce some sort of digital ID, Oliver.
That's exactly right, and that's been Eric's argument.
Yeah.
So it sounds very nice. You want to ban it, and you want to do something that's right for the kids, and you maybe want to take some pressure off the parents, but the practicalities of introducing such a ban are such that it's practically impossible without violating some of our other rights.
Yeah. Look, guys, in that space, in the sort of social media space too, and I haven't quite got to the bottom of it yet, looks like the government, Yvonne, has lost its bottle on the Fair Digital Media Bargaining Bill, which was basically the government taxing big internet companies to keep the legacy media afloat in New Zealand.
What's the reason for why they lost their bottle? Sorry, I haven't followed
Well,
that.
all we've heard is that the bill was due to be introduced this week, and it's not going to be, apparently after a rather forthright meeting with the people from Google, who said, we will turn off access to all New Zealand news sites if you bastards do this.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? That is really interesting. So, and that would actually affect legacy media more.
Yes, but also it would affect outfits like the platform to a certain extent. Oliver, that's a kind of reality check. That legislation, which Willie Jackson had drafted, was never good anyway.
That's correct. And the current government should have never resurrected that old media bill from Willie Jackson's day. So that bill, as you say, is a complete disaster because it was predictable that Google and Facebook would respond in that way, because it's not the first time they have encountered a bill like that. They had the same kind of approach in Australia and in Canada, and in each case, the big media platforms said, well, if you go ahead with that, we are pulling out of your market. And if they're doing that to larger countries, they would certainly do that to New Zealand. I think they communicated that message to the government quite forcefully, and the government has now put the bill on ice. I'm not entirely sure whether it's gone for good. I very much hope so that it is. But then again, the official position seems to be that Paul Goldsmith would at some stage report back to us.
He was just a little busy.
Update.
He was just...
Yeah.
And when they say that and you can't get a straight answer, you know they're going, oh, geez, how do we get out of this one? You know?
Exactly. It should have been easy, actually, because they could have just said, look, this was a terrible bill. We inherited this from the predecessor government. We're not going to go ahead because we completely disagree, as we did, by the way, when we were in opposition. And then to resurrect that bill in government, it was just stupidity writ large.
Yeah. And I don't think that legacy media can justify it, given some of the stuff they're up to. Look, while I've both got you here, this has just popped up this morning, and I'm interested in your views, and as a journalist, particularly in yours, Yvonne. There's a woman called Nevak Rogers, and she is a rising wahine star in television New Zealand, picked to be their next head of news and content, which is a hell of a position, right? That's like the editor. Nevak Rogers, who of course started her work in Wātea and Maori television, Nevak Rogers has taken a leave of absence from television New Zealand to go on the hikoi. Yvonne, does that make her an appropriate person to be in any position of editorial control at television New Zealand?
Probably, given that Television New Zealand is now the propaganda arm of the Labour and the Maori Party.
Sorry, I was living in the real world just for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's reality. Frankly, I think that they've really abdicated all journalistic kind of neutrality, haven't they? They've just done the most appalling job of covering this treaty principles bill in the hikoi.
And someone noted that Jenny May Coffin, her face is adorning billboards about being strong Maori for the Waiparoa Trust, which is essentially just the financial arm of the Maori Party.
Yeah,
and presumably that's done with her permission.
We should just defund state media now. I don't think we should wait for it to die, and it is dying, and people are losing confidence. I think we should just kill it now. I don't want any more of my money going to them. They've lost all credibility. They really have. Yeah. So I don't know do they want to lose more people?
Yeah. So Nevak Rogers, you say, cannot be head of news and content.
No,
pulling
not
that.
At all.
Oliver, your view?
I'm reminded of something a former German TV host of a big news talk program said, Hans-Joachim Friedrichs. He said, a good journalist never makes himself one with a cause, not even a good one.
Yeah. And I've got to say, that was something my father, God rest him, always said to me, never protest, never march, never join a group.
Right.
Certainly not if you're a prominent journalist.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even I didn't, I went on one march in my life because I wanted to go out with a girl with hairy armpits. And that was when I was 18, and I didn't get the girl anyway, so it didn't work. But it seems to me no one will highlight. Oh, well, no, fair enough. The Herald actually broke the story behind its paywall about Nevak Rogers. But I'd just love to see actually some meaningful response from Television New Zealand. Otherwise, they just don't get the ethics involved here, do they, Yvonne?
They don't, but you must know that they don't. You must know by now that they're a lost cause, don't you think? I mean, look at the way they're reporting everything. Look at it. RNZ, look at it all. It's hopeless. It really is. You cannot rely on them to report anything neutrally anymore.
Right. They're doing such excellent work with documentaries like Trans and Pregnant.
Exactly. I know. I didn't watch it. I'd rather nail my tongue to the floor than watch something
Oliver,
like
do you think $750,000 for a documentary about a woman who has a baby after getting her breast cut off is...
Well, yeah, I mean, you're answering the question already. No, I mean, obviously not. I mean, there are perhaps a few more pressing issues for this country than this one, which affects a minority group of 0.0000001% of the population. So no, I don't think it was money well spent. It's not the issue that really moves and shapes the country. We have much more important topics to talk about.
All right, so you think that was a waste of money. I must admit, commissioned under the last government, a legacy project, one imagines. Look, no, we won't have the break now. We'll get into it, of course, the hikoi. Well, actually not the hikoi. This week's been about the Treaty Principles Bill. I go to a press conference on Monday, guys, and I ask what I think is a very innocent question along the lines of what is a woman to Hipkins. I simply say to the Prime Minister, what is it that you like or don't like about the Treaty Principles Bill? And he comes back with fire in his eye and says, nothing. There's nothing good about that bill at all. I don't like any of it. Boy, did that, and I didn't make him say that. That's what he chose to say. I'm not responsible for his answer. Do you think that was the smart thing to say, Oliver?
No, because I think it was way too categoric. I mean, if he had read through the treaty principles bill, I mean, it's only 4 pages long, so it wouldn't have taken long. He would have recognized that there are quite a few things that he will, in principle, like. I mean, then it's still a question whether it needs that bill. But the principles itself spelled out in the bill are something that I think anyone in National should be able to sign up to. And that is that the New Zealand government has full power to govern and make laws for all New Zealanders, or tick. That the Crown recognises and protects the rights of Hapu and Iwi Maori as established at the time of the signing of the treaty, tick. And that all New Zealanders are equal under the law with the same rights and duties. Well, tick. I mean, what is not to like about that? The next question is, do we need that bill? Does it actually help us in the current debate? That's something we can discuss, but the principles themselves, I think, should be uncontroversial.